seem to be no any questions or clarifications. You can see the PowerPoint presentations I opened, and this is also a lecture today, YouTube also, you can watch later on or even now. Now what we try to start to discuss the government intervention to the pre-market. Before that, I explain or present this chart and how the policymakers or the government experts they think and the general public react and their behavior. You can see the completely different ways that really matter for the economy and ultimately the entire country and its welfare. So the policymakers has to revisit, not the citizen. That's the point. There, what I mentioned, maybe theories must wrong. Some of the theories must be outdated, or maybe our expert and policymakers is not aware of the real knowledge and theories, may take the decision gut feeling, or maybe the channel wrong, but because this kind of macroeconomic shock go to the real ground level, that channel might be some leakages. So there must be several reasons. So for you, the exam may be, I may give this both chart from the microeconomics point of view, government intervention perspective. You should be able to analyze this in the exam. And with that, what I'm going to do today, maybe next week also, the government intervention to the price mechanism, which means the pre-market up to right now what we discussed. Here, I took only 4 type of intervention, but the government intervention more than that. So go beyond this kind of conventional intervention. So we are not going to analyze those things, only the price, the mechanism, this kind of conventional intervention we are looking at. And when I start this lecture series also, I mentioned that the market bring the society optimal, Pareto optimal level or economic nirvana situation. And due to market failure, people drop down to the second level, which means the reality, though market mechanism supposed to bring the, according to neoclassical economic, the economic nirvana level, the reality is the people are in the second stage. Now, there are the government invitations come to the government. So that the system, the government interfere, government come here, play a role, bring the people back to the Pareto optimal level or economic nirvana level. There is the government role. There are some of the mechanisms, some of the tools the government use, this price ceiling, subsidies, taxing. I always believe that the current context, we live in the 5th industrial revolution where the IT and is strong. Government must need the more advanced, more new, innovative kind of intervention than those kind of costly conventional intervention. So I use the word costly. You can see when we analyze how those interventions cost to the society, cost to the economy. Now, I think this happened this week. The US, one big beautiful bill, the past US government. There also you can see the government intervention create the enabling business environment for the economic development and the society. Now, when you look at those things, you can see in Sri Lankan, I could say all the time now, 70 years in the current government also use worstly that the opposite of these kind of supportive policies. Now, this, if I read this yellow color point only, you can see it provides immediate tax release to farmers and thus rural Americans by increasing the small business, expanding permanently extended small business deduction. Through the president's leadership bill makes agriculture great again, boosting farm safety net, makes crop insurance more affordable, protecting 2 million families from the debt tax. Now, see, I have written an article also, this kind of very deadful tax harm to the economy. In my article, if you read, you can see reducing kind of a tax is help the economic growth kind of thing. But you can see Sri Lankan government now, worst case you can see, though they came to power, taking those kind of thing, so burden too much to those who working group. So you have to understand. Now this is the same paper. They before the act get to Senate, and they published several articles. Different researchers, different group, including IMF, has done studies. USA in 2017 did pass the act, another one, Tax Cut and Job Act. It cutting tax, reducing tax, how is positively affect to the economic growth. You can see here, even long run and the short run, and the except one of the publication, all the others you can see this kind of policy. Now with that, I'll start with the first intervention, the price floor. So here what I try to do, try to understand what is price floor and that what impact the economy and society. There the price floor mean the government set the minimum price. The market, for example, the mechanism set the price $6 and the government say, no, this price must be higher than that. Government set the price above the market price. So that's what I call a price floor and the or minimum price. In the exam paper, you might see it's either price floor or minimum price. Several examples, and one of the most popular example, minimum wage. But more than that, you can see. So this kind of policies government introduced to support supplier, producer, not the demand side, not the consumer. So you can see what the immediate thing happened with the price floor. The demand above the market price. The demand reduced with price floor 150, now dropped to demand 100. Supply side, supply increase. Supply increase. Result, immediately you can say, it created surplus within the market. So that's the situation, immediate situation, kind of a price floor or minimum legal price setup by the government. So it disturbed the market mechanism, invisible hand, the price system. Now, immediate thing what you can see here, reduce demand and the increased supply and create the surplus. Now I have small questions for you. If this kind of surplus created, if you are a producer in this industry, you are the one of the producer, one of the supplier. What's your reaction? What's your reaction? Anyone can answer me? So the exam also is the master level. I give questions like that. What's your managerial reaction as a producer, as a supplier? Anyone?
So I will try to sell the surplus by using a discount or something like that.
Surplus import.
Surplus, I try to sell the surplus by using a discount rate or something like that.
No, that's another point. I don't know whether, yeah, maybe you can use different kind of strategies like discount, but the government say the legal price, right? In that way, kind of government like Sri Lankan, right, current government, if you do so, maybe they take you to the prison, right? Take the legal action. Because the government has a control price. That I don't know how it's possible practically in this kind
So
of
this is the this is a price flow, right?
price flow, yeah.
So from the supplier perspective, it's an advantage to him, right? So even
Yes, definitely. But it creates a surplus in the market now. You are supplier, but let's say 200, let's say million or something in the market right now. But at the end of the day, demand is 100. 100 surplus, 100 units surplus. So what's your reaction as a producer? That's what I asked the question.
Maybe in the short term, we can try to export. In the long term, we can reduce the production.
That's 2 points there. One point you said that the export. Now we are living in the global economy. In that case, especially when you take the country like Sri Lanka, I don't believe the market price even below the world price. The government set the price 7, definitely can't be world price, below the world price. In that way, except your parents must be there, no one buy from when you export, right? If your parents must be the USA government, president, they will buy, even if not paid. I don't think so. Is what your point is valid there, because if you think of especially the country like that, our transaction costs about 35%, 33%, 35%, which means our cost of production is higher than the world price. If this is increased further, no one willing to buy from other countries. The export may be the out and that way. Right?
So we can try and sell to the government the excess supply.
Okay, that's another point. Government buy. Now you see sometime back also for example, in case of paddy, the government bought and no enough space for store, and they used the airport also for that. So that cost to the general public. General public mean cost to the taxpayers. Taxpayers mean who earn money like you and me. Cost to them. So ultimately, this government has to increase the taxation to maintain those stock and buying. At the end of the day, again, this continues. Next harvest, next production line also come in the same surplus. Surplus not reduced. Then second time, surplus double, then maybe 200, then 300. So all the stock, what the stock going to do, government? Government, what is going to do with that stock?
So in that case, what the producers can do is that they will have to lower their production and might have to move their resources in terms of diversifying into some other areas. which I'm not sure on a practical world how we are going to do it.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the point. Because we are talking about not the monopoly, the pre-market, thousands of producers there, they don't know really what happened. If you are a producer there, you don't know. You can influence the market also in that way. It may be that right. You can, as a producer, not like entrepreneur, you can stop and you can sleep all the night, 24 hours, stop your earning. That's what you can do. But
So, is
ultimately,
it possible for us to think that government would cater the low income categories using the lower
that
price?
question is still I did not ask. I am asking question from producers, managers' point of view, not the government point of view.
Yeah.
Think of that's what I say. That we need a kind of innovative ways thinking. Now, what you think maybe not work. Think we have to think of the global and the pre-economy. The other countries not reacting what our country, our government is doing, and also that thing. And my second question, I say you are a policy maker, like Sant already asked right now, Sanat. As a policymaker, what would be your reaction? Let's say you are the Minister of Finance, you are the Secretary. What kind of policy action you can take? Of course, you already took the policy action to increase the price at the minimum price. So how do you react as a policymaker now? Now, Sant, what you try to say? Sanat?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is solution? Hello? So we can't hear you. Now,
This is where you expect the people to the government's intervention, right? From a policy level perspective, like what is having in our paddy market right now. You impose a minimum ceiling and price floor, and then what's the expectation is that the government intervene and purchase the from the market.
that's what the government doing. I'm saying that is completely wrong. So what because you are a young blood, then you have to think of with new ways, and you live in always fifth industrial revolution age, and so not the line all conventional 50, 100 years, but really the government will. Okay. Yeah, Chatula.
So what I believe is the price flows that creates a kind of a market inefficiency. So that
Exactly.
So that we need to find a way to give this kind of subsidy in a different angle to the suppliers rather than taking consumer surplus out from the equation.
No, yeah, you are right. The point is the rice market, this danger in Sri Lanka also, because this plus rice market, the government give, like what you said, there's a subsidy also, input subsidy. In that way, this case is worse kind of a situation, giving the subsidy plus this kind of a price policy. Now, imagine, like some of you all try to say, if the government wants to buy this stock, you see the cost to the government, this area value, which means here $100 million. The government has to spend, if use the policy, $100 million to buy this stock. Now, point is buying again have to need the facility, and after that the government need a mechanism to use them also. Like I said, at the producer side, this production continuously happen. Now, in case of like rice, next harvest also coming like that. In that case, what you try to say, maybe the government buy and sell again. How can you do that? Then have to sell the lower price, the market price. In that way, the government has the additional cost also, this amount also. Plus storage facility cost also, administrative also. But altogether, if you go with that policy, around $160 million, the government has to spend if you are a policymaker, definitely. Now see the so-called, our policymakers behave like that. 160 million. What exactly happened in Sri Lankan history, those kind of money, we got it from as a subsidy, foreign donation. Then the government policymakers, then they happily did that. And after that, maybe there's a loan, we did the same thing. Now the policymakers used to harass us, increasing tax to get this amount of money. What does mean increase in tax mean? Those who work, engage in the productivity activities, punished right now. Taking 36 direct and add all the indirect tax, those who, for example, someone paid 36, on average, indirect tax around 24%. Even more than that, if, for example, this amount of taxpayers, they buy cars and things also, average indirect tax more than this. Altogether, around 85% you pay, somewhere around 85% because of this government wrong policy. Plus, we have to adhere the inflation also. In count, I have my article, if you read, about 90 to 94%. Because of these wrong policies, indirectly you have to pay to the government. Whatever those who in the kind of level contribute to the economy. Now, understand. Now, this is the one way. But now I'm going to show you traditional microeconomics, which means the neoclassical economics, how they analyze, or the textbook version of the analysis, this kind of policy. Textbook version of. Before that, like Chatula said, this kind of policy, another bad thing. As a government, as a country, we encourage inefficiency also. Inefficient producers. What does mean? Now, the market mechanism, we know that create the efficiency. Above the 6, someone as a producer, enter the market mean inefficient producers. Because if you are producer in this market, you can produce 1 unit $6, you are efficient. Those are who inefficient need more than $6. So it create inefficiency in the market, which means the valuable resources government reallocate inefficiently is cost to the whole economy, not the current generation, future generation as well. That's a danger, another danger. Because if you are a producer, if you are a efficient producer, you can produce even the less than $6 same goods. Little inefficient producers only need this kind of support. So which means you can understand, you have to look at as a holistic way, how is cost to the economy. Now let me look at this effect of this price flow from microeconomics textbook. To understand that, first we have to understand two concepts. These two concepts are producer surplus and the consumer surplus. Now imagine, for example, here $20, here let's say $10, here 100. Now the consumer surplus you can calculate easily. Here difference is 10, here difference is 100. So 10 multiply 100. divide by 2. In case of linear demand and supply curve, you get the consumer surplus. Producer surplus also same way, you can get $500 million. Same way you can calculate the producer surplus also. Now, we are going to look at, which means the textbook version I'm trying to say, neoclassical microeconomics, the effect of price flow using this consumer and producer surplus. Now, these two together, consumer surplus plus producer surplus, is the social welfare. Is the social welfare. Now imagine this is the social welfare level before the intervention. This is the social welfare level before the intervention, which means the before introduce the price floor. Now, after intervention, let's say W1 is social welfare. If W1 is greater than W0, we could say that's policy, but it is better for the country, better for the society. But is opposite happen. Social welfare level before the intervention greater than after, we can't say that policy is good. Except if you look at the holistic way, kind of industries government want to promote, government want to encourage. But in the current contents, you can see Sri Lankan government not thinking like that. Try to get the anyway, like I always say, even over the dead body. Now, of course, not only the people dead body and the animal dead body also try to government get tax. Government get to some government revenue, not kind of a different encouraging kind of industries, policies, that kind of a policy. So if you look at the single analysis, single industry, if the W1 is greater than W0, the price flow is worth, price flow is positively affect to the society and economy. Now we look at the what happened in the price flow. Now look at here. The price flow is above the market price. Let's say the market price is $10. The market price is $10. $12 is the government set price. Now look at after the price flow, how much the consumer surplus and producer surplus. How much the consumer surplus and producer surplus. You can see the consumer surplus, producer surplus definitely increase at this level, but it does not happen because this surplus you can't sell in the market. Ultimately, what happened is create a situation in the market system. Producers only produce, like someone already says, some analysts say 80 units. Now, I put some let here A, B, C, D, E, and F. Now look at originally, before the intervention, consumer surplus Originally consumer surplus, A, B, C. Originally producer surplus, D, E, and F. E, N, F. Now what? After intervention. These are the before intervention, total social welfare. All the areas. A, B, C, D, E, and F. What happened after intervention? Consumer surplus. Only area A. Because since the price increased up to 12, now B goes to producer. Area B goes to producer. Because of that, the producer surplus you can see now. So after the intervention, sorry. Original DE, yeah, and B also add to the producers. Now, ultimately, you can see after the intervention, you can calculate, and the exam you should be able to calculate those value given prices and the quantity. Here also you can do. Social welfare after the intervention, A from consumer surplus, D, E, and B. A, B, E, and B area. Now see, this is after intervention, total social welfare. Now you can see the before intervention total social welfare, C and F part also there. C and F part also there, which means these two block. C and F. Now what happened? After the price floor, after the minimum price setting, these two areas, C and F, lost the entire system, entire society, entire economy. That's what we call, or not me, dead weight loss. The microeconomics, that area what we call dead weight loss. Then you can check your AI, artificial intelligence, and when a GPT, whatever thing, what is the meaning of the dead weight loss? Dead weight loss is the loss to the entire society, loss to the entire economy. It doesn't go to produce, neither producer, it does go to neither producer, no consumer, which means the even does not go to the government. That is the worst case. If at least we can think of the go to government, government can use that. Now see, this kind of policy, how negatively affect to the society, though it depends on again the elasticity of supply and demand, though it produces surplus slightly increase. It's again depends on the elasticity because the producer surplus they lost F, add in B, the producers better off. Producers better off, but ultimately the entire economy and society lost. That's what we call dead weight lost. That's what we call dead weight. Maybe someone argue that, like I tried to explain before, with this pricing, price flow, 12 price, no, producers produce somewhere in the 120 and the producer surplus increase. It does not happen like I tried to explain different ways, the real world, because this production continuously happen. This surplus, nowhere to go. Its surplus is overproduction. It's an overproduction cost to the society. That is what we get here, dead weight loss. Because due to the government wrong intervention here, the producers produce more than efficient amount, free market amount, that creates dead weight loss. This overproduction, like you try to say different ways, government buy, government keep, and this cost, if government does so, more than this dead weight loss. That is another danger. Because our wrong policymakers, our policymakers think, yeah, they are the very best here. In that way, if they think like that, if we do so, ultimately it's double cost to the society. Like I tried to explain previously, previous slide, all these costs, let's say government need to $500 million to buy stock and maintain stock another 100 million and little bit administrative. So directly, government has to collect from taxpayers $600 million. Not only that, since the government had to collect and some administrative cost also involved here, that may be another $100 million. With the tax department, tax officers, again the other all administrative costs, about $700 million loss. Really, yes, has to pay back to the government, back to the treasury. Now here another point here, this 700 million taxpayers, again maybe these producers must be, because the producers are the one who produce, engage in economic activity, government take this 700 million producer. Now look at the producer surplus additional amount here again. For this particular example, 2 multiply 80, like 160 million. Additional producer surplus gain because of what I define as the wrong policy, but indirectly they had to pay to the government. Of course, some maybe they say 20% pay consumers, but 700 million. Now, government give you somehow 160 million without knowing you, government has to collect 700 million. You can see that even the producers are losers. That's the danger. Because our people, even the producers, those who get those kind of support, they think come to their pocket and they're happy. But they don't know indirectly, government take from you when the government give you, let's say this is the monopoly situation. It's not the monopoly get 160 million, but indirectly, knowing or unknowing, he has to pay to the government 700 million. You see, the producers even also. Now, you might think, oh, then why this kind of thing happen and the policy? Maybe that argument, that kind of inputs you can give the answer script and the final exam paper. So that is the situation. What I try to say, the situation is worse than what the neoclassical microeconomics textbook says. According to neoclassical microeconomics, only loss is lost. In this particular example, if you take here, difference is 2 and 3, 3 multiply here 20, divide by 30. Only 30 million net weight loss, according to. But the situation is worse than that. Why? Because the microeconomics, neoclassical economics believe that market is with the full information, and if someone lost the job or something happened here, overnight he can find a job some other industry, which means the microeconomics, neoclassical economics believe full employment. In case of full employment argument is not reality anyway. Full employment argument only cost, that's what is the microeconomics say 30 million. Now another danger here, compare with the pre-market production. Here I give the 100 million. Now imagine economy produce 80 million, which means the 20 million no need to produce right now because of this policy. Now imagine among this 20 million, I'm talking about the area, I'm going to color a different way, try to understand properly. Area, this area, where the neoclassical economy is blind. Our textbook almost silent. This 20 million, yeah, not 20, yeah, 60 million, right? What I say, whatever. This area value. What is this area value? Those who lost their job, where include entrepreneurs, laborers, human resource, the input providers, even indirectly other industries also. For example, bank, because they are the one who give loans and things also. Loss mean their livelihood, they are earning, they lost. They are earning, they lost. For example, imagine this 20 million cut production. Let's say we need 100 additional firm, 100 additional producers. So which means 100 entrepreneurs. Each firm works 1,000, then about 100,000 laborers they lost job. And other input providers, because they need input. And those who provide loan, the bank also, maybe 1 or 2 bank branches will close. They are workers indirectly. Now, altogether, let's say 2,000 people lost their job, more than that, of course. And if you multiply this by household size, let's say average 4, it's a 8,000 go to social unrest because they don't have anything for their survival. What's the government policy look after them? If you are a policy maker, when you introduce this kind of price mechanism, as a policy maker, do you picture any mitigation policy, mitigation effort to address those things? Now, you might say our social protection. In Sri Lankan context, social protection only look after poor people, not something affect because of the wrong government policy, in this case, this kind of situation. You can see day to day, because of government policies, lost the people life. Government, the social protection does not address those people needs. That is the worst case also. Collecting tax, in this case, the government collect tax now, additional producer surplus, something government had to take. Collecting this tax government, if inject to these people, you can think socially equality happen, imbalance reduce. But that does not happen also. Now imagine, maybe our so-called policymaker, this kind of price setting, very simple decision. how it's affect to the entire economy, entire society, it's a serious. What I try to say, the picture is it's not like simple, like a textbook say, or not simple to the only dead weight loss. More than that. More than that. So before I go to price ceiling, if you have any questions, I think someone want to ask question also, or any clarification, I will give few minutes. So maybe there I can learn. Also, you can learn. We can discuss. Yeah. Anyone?
So can we go back to the previous slide? What you did?
So everywhere I draw, but
Yeah. So actually, previously we talked about what would be the some certain decision internally about the producers level regarding this floor price. So is it the same thing? We can say that internally they can think of bringing their production back to like 100 from 100 to 80 level or something like that. They're referring that sort of action. So reducing sort of production because they may expect that certain people will lose job and
now,
so
point is here, you are suppose you are the producers in the industry, 1,000 of producers like that. Are you voluntary doing that? Because you are also rational producer, and maybe in that way you are must be a Buddhist monk. But in Sri Lankan case, Buddhist monk never do that. I mean, you are also a competitive, rational producer. Volunteer solution, I don't think so it will. I mean, then you may think of others, they enjoy their, because $12 price, and you are the loser, your family members loser, you have to go to the road and begging. That's what happened to you in that case. Because the government, if you are producer, government still try to collect tax from you. Government does not look after you for your sacrifice. Because the government social protection, our Sri Lankan social protection look after those who traditionally come from, I mean, I get the birth to and ages to ages poor people. They discourage their working and give the poverty-oriented policy, poverty-oriented social protection, not look after you. Right?
Yeah.
So that is the point. Then maybe at the end of the tax year, it's come to the message to you, say this year you did not pay the tax and last year your income, this one, and you have to pay that. Otherwise, police come and take you to put in the prison.
So
Or
as
maybe a
well,
lot of it.
as well, when government decide this floor price, they may seriously look into their board base as well. No, for example, if the producers are much larger, producer category is much larger, then they will put more weightage to producer category like paddy farmers, not much
No,
weightage to the consumer.
I did not clearly understand your point, but the thing is, it's not like that. The government has to look at not the number of producers, that is also matter, and the elasticity, that is really matter, right? And so maybe the number of producers and government has to look at their life and whatever the consumer surplus, they lost their side also, and ultimately, because the government get the tax from those two parties, consumers and producers. The government tax base also reduced definitely because of this kind of policies. Okay. Hope no any other the questions or clarification. Yeah. So, but the exam, think of like the two questions that I asked. This kind of situation as a policymaker, the first question what I asked, they create the surplus. What do you do with the surplus? Somebody tried to explain to me just surplus export. So I always say the other countries' president or prime ministers are not your girlfriends or parents or someone to buy like that, or boyfriends. They are also producing their efficiency than our producers, and maybe their world price less than that. In case of price, you can say Vietnam price always lower than the Sri Lankan price. So in that happen, no other country buy from Sri Lanka. So except some internal deal going, otherwise not happening. That also cost to the economy again. Okay. Now I'll take the other side of the story, that the price ceiling. Price ceiling. Usually price ceiling government introduced to support consumers, reduce the price. Now what I notice is the price increase, which means the price floor, minimum price also heavily burden to the economy and society. And the price ceiling we can look at same way. To understand the price ceiling, this is the market decided price and quantity, 150 quantity, price, the market price is 5. Price ceiling means government introduced the price below the market price, like here. Let's say $4. Very simple way. Now you can see immediate effect. Now supply reduced up to 100. Demand increased up to 200. Now you can see immediately what happened, shortage in the market. In this case, particular example, 100 amount of shortage. This particular example, 100 unit, 100 million of shortage. Now, again, I need from you an answer, or maybe answers. It kind of shortage occurs within the economy, the particular industry. What will happen? Anyone, any ideas, anything?
So that would create a kind of a black market.
Okay. Okay.
Low quality, low grade material will come into the market as well.
Okay. Okay. Anyone?
Sir, the people might go for migrant labor at lower cost, undermining the labor market as well.
How that happen?
Like in a developed country, you could have people coming in, and in a Sri Lankan context as well, you could probably get people coming in from neighboring countries where the labor rates are lower, which could be illegal, undermining labor laws.
If you fix into the labor market, particularly, if the labor market, the wage rate goes down like that, okay, that's particularly if you,
there will be demand for some alternative materials,
like say the low quality product. Right.
No, not really low quality as well, but maybe replacement subsidy.
But if someone buy the substitute, it has to be the low quality than the what you rightly use. For example, let's say that you are using the bread to substitute, lower price must be, though you say the substitutes is the nutrition and other values less than that, right? Otherwise, you don't buy it before price reduction.
Sir, but then there will be shortage. Do consumers think about the quality?
That's what someone explained. New thing also I got to know, because these low quality products come to the market and that may happen. Okay. Low quality substitute. For example, a nutrition level up, like you try to explain, people will consume right now. Exactly happened right now. Consume the low quality rice and low quality food, and your long term your productivity and nutrition value and economy is negatively affect to the economy also. Imagine right now high cost of production. Majority of our people Either they eat only 2 meals, or maybe the nutrition values of the meals also goes down. And that negatively affect to the short run and the long run, the economy also, and the people health also. In that way, the health budget also increase. The other thing, the productivity also goes down, because those are the things the policymakers have to think, not just to simple the politicians say this killer. Any other?
Professor, I think that even though there is a shortage and that's the reason the price has gone up, by putting a price ceiling, people will not know the demand and they will continue to consume, leading to even more shortages.
No, yeah, that exactly happening. But the thing is, not normal people, the policymakers and the expert ideas. What I need is like what you said. That this exactly happened because normal people and they don't know they consume. But exactly what happened, the economy is create the shortage and the efficient level of production is 150. But the country mechanism create the efficient. Now produce only 100 because the supplier only produce 100. 200 demand. So like you said, that's what exactly in Sri Lankan majority. Whatever the government say, they blindly and they listen and they don't have any knowledge to analyze and or maybe they are really not, I can't say that, they are really can't make a sound also. So at least what happened at the end, the situation is shortage happened. Now imagine, very simple example, today or tomorrow morning, early morning, you go to passport office. Only issues the 100 passport, but there are 200 people, the line in the queue. You also know there only the particular day given only 100. That exactly happened in the passport office and the different places also. This is not about, like I tried to say, price ceiling, but to understand the shortage and what happened. Now, let's imagine in the queue, you are somewhere just after 100, somewhere in, let's say 120 place. What's the reaction? What you are going to do? What you are going to do? Tell me. Shantia, what you are going to do? If you are
Try to identify someone known there at the office and give.
you are. You can't tell you because they openly tell that you say that you are also part of the corruption.
Yeah, that's it. But that is what usually happens.
Yeah, imagine that's usually happen, right? And imagine sometime back in the petrol queue. If you are at 21 place, you may be what you try to say, oh, someone find before the 100 point place here 80 point and get his support and pay to him, and maybe you try to see place also. In that way happen our market system also. There are some intermediate middlemen come and also early morning or somewhere other useful. They maybe stand here. For them, it's another earning opportunity, this kind of thing. Whatever way, it creates a black market, like Chatula first point introduced, it creates a black market price, the market. In this case, for example, here bring like somewhere here, $7, black market. Now, like San already said, now those who after this 100 place in the queue, imagine you just forget about go back home, cost to you, your time. I mean, in Sri Lankan culture, you can't come alone also early morning. You have to accompany someone, especially not only the girls in our culture, women, the men also, we have trouble in our culture. So their opportunity cost and also the traveling and other cost also together, let's say it's very simple way, about $10. You had definitely more than that to you. Then what you do here, you think, of course, even maybe out of 10, maximum 10, about $8 even, given to someone inside or outside to support. Our system, we have both ways. There are some inside it or outside. You can enter and you can get the service, your passport in my word, you're better off. That is exactly happening. Black market create the government. Now the worst case is, say the black market is not the issue. Worst case is that we create such culture. That culture damage to the society because when you do so, you get this kind of, you also automatically enter this world. It's not only that, your children and the young generation also looking at you as an example, they also later stage enter this world. So it's a socially corruption also happen, not only just the money, financial corruption, monetary corruption. So that's really danger. That's really the danger to the society. So why this happened? Though this government say the people are corrupted, and because the government wrong policy. If the government led the market mechanism, that is everybody happy, everybody get that invisible land decide. Government has to do the facilitate. If the price is, the market price is high, government has to facilitate to improve the productivity, increase the supply curve, shift the supply curve this side, bring down the market price to this level. That's what I believe. But our policymakers think not like that. Oh, this is high price, and they put the ceiling price in that way. Let's say the rice. Of course, in the recent government, what it is, different thing. Their ceiling price, unorthodoxly, they put in the more than the market price. So I don't know what kind of policymakers they did that one. That's what we call unorthodox price ceiling, because even above the market price, they set the price. No, you can see this black market price. It does not explain the microeconomics textbook, but that is a really danger. It creates a black market price. Now, another danger here, before I take the textbook explanation. Now, what exactly happened here, if I draw supply, demand, and the ceiling price. Now, the ceiling price, I don't put the value here. Before the ceiling price, 150 million is production. Now the supply only 100. Now supply only 100. Now compare the market system is a baseline. The production 150. Look at here. You know what is this area value? If I draw here my original chart, what is the area value? I hope you know. I mark as a capital A. Now, this the, in terms of producer side, what we call cost of production, which means if you look at the income earners side, these are the income of input providers, including entrepreneurs, laborers, human resources, land, capital, other resources, raw material. Their income is the amount here. They lost this amount of income. Let's imagine 100 million lost. 100 million income. What happened to the families? If they lost their job, for example, let's say the 100 entrepreneurs lost their job. What happened to their families, their income? There may be this particular industry, let's say 50 doctors there, whatever below. Their families, what happened? Let's say the bank managers, 100 bank managers lost their job because they may belong to this area. 100 bank managers lost. Now, neoclassical economics, microeconomics is blind and silent on this. Why? Because they believe the economy with full employment. Full employment. One is the reality is not true. You can see in even developed countries, full employment is not true. Second one, even the full employment, neoclassical economics believe if someone lost their job in this particular industry, they can find a job, that is the full employment assumption, another industry. Now imagine you are a bank manager. If you are lost your job today because of this, can you tomorrow find a job in the hospital as a doctor? Or, of course, in Sri Lankan context, they may come to the universities and they teach. Those things they can teach everyone outside. And can they find a job in the school and do the teach? They may need the time to adjust and learn, because ours is our country, we don't need to professionalism. Even the three-wheel drivers, if they feel that they can come to the university, be a visiting lecturer here. Because this professionalism, even I lost the job here, tomorrow I can buy a three-wheeler and I can do. That will not happen. But it's not true. Get that, that's why issues come. To get that profession, we need the kind of a professional certificate. For that, we need the time. Let's say on average 6 months. Our policymakers, so-called policymakers, has any plan to kind of clear training policy for that? In our social protection policy, do we have that? Of course, we developed some time back National Social Protection Policy. Sri Lankan government took only part of it. One of the package is this career guide, this kind of areas. Also, we have strategies and policies, but the government did not take it. And even we have social protection package we have, even this 6 months, they say the doctor lost the job and close in hospital. Overnight, doctor can be a bank manager. Get the certificate of professionalism 6 months. Then our government have system look after this 6 months, their family members. Our strategy look after their family member this 6 months. No, our social protection so-called look at not those people. Look at so-called poor people. So in that way, you can see simply, or else say, this reducing price, our paddy consumers, rice consumers better off, or then everybody happy. But they don't look at, they are blind. This kind of areas, part of the society, they get negatively. Our policies are completely blind. That's part. So for that, we need the policy, social protection policy look after that. So that's the danger, this kind of thing. Now I show you how textbook, when I mentioned textbook, microeconomics textbook, which neoclassical economic base, analyze this kind of policy that does not give this kind of a real picture. Anyway, they are look at, like I explained before, change of producer surplus and consumer surplus point. Consumer surplus and producer surplus. Now, this is the original, the consumer surplus and the producer surplus. Before I explain this one, any questions or any clarification related to what I explained, little beyond the neoclassical or textbook explanation? Any? Okay, no. Now, this is the original producer and consumer surplus. Now we can see what happened in the price ceiling. Let's say original here $5, now $4. Now what happened is create around $7 black market price, of course. And I will mark here again let's say A, B, C, D, E, and F. Now you can, the exam again, given values, you should be able to calculate those things. I'm not going to calculate right now, just to show a symbol. But the exam, you should be able to calculate separately. Given, I usually give in the exam demand function. You maybe do it right now as an example, let's say minus 2p and the supply function, let's say p, let's say then I can give the ceiling price as let's $10. With those information, you should be able to calculate all the value what here measure A, B, C, D, E, F, or everything. Even the, like I explained before here, area A. So that the exam question usually, and plus how managers reaction, how producers reaction, how policymakers reaction. Those are the exam question. Now look at before price ceiling, consumer surplus. So I use the CS0, area A, B, and C. Value you should be able to calculate. That is before price ceiling. Before price ceiling, producer surplus. You can see the area D, E, and F. E and F. Now you can see social welfare before price ceiling, all the areas A, B, C, D, E, and F. I'm not going to rewrite here, but you can rewrite all the. Now look at with the price ceiling, what happened. Now, after price ceiling, official legal price. Legal price means if you are a producer, if you are a consumer, FIFO, you can't change it. But the government, you have to be there. Otherwise, government can catch you, the police come and put into jail. You can't do that. The consumer surplus now, you see, P and the market, now you have, let's say, 80 only. Yeah. Consumer surplus after, I see S1, area A, B, D. A and B, that is also originally with the consumer set. D also come in because the price dropped down to 5 to 4. Now the D area also go to consumer set. That's the point. Originally C was with them, but not now. Because now only the move only 80. Now C not there, maybe this one. Producer surplus, look at now. Originally D, E and F, now D went to the consumer, only left with them E, because the F also not coming because they now only produce 80. F also not come. Now the problem is here, social welfare after now, you can see only area A, forget about the two group in the society, but the entire society now get the A, B, D and E area. So my problem is what happened to these C and F area. These two areas, the classical economic textbook says, debt weight loss to the entire society. It go to no one. Even it does not go to the government. No to the producer, no to the consumer. Complete debt loss due to underproduction. It's a textbook say due to underproduction. Originally produced 100, now underproduction. Now, this is the point. A area is the point. Textbook is so silent. This area. That's what I explained before. A plus C and F together. C, F plus A. These three areas. Of course, the neoclassical textbook captures C and F as a debt with loss. But A also seriously we have to look at. In case of we release the full employment assumption. These are the areas lost job due to people become unemployed due to this wrong, but I use the word wrong price ceiling policy. This is the area. Now imagine this area value is 500 million. 500 million dollar. Which means the workers, input providers, bank who give credit to this industry, they lost their job. When the bank lost business, their employee also lost their job. When the other link industries, they lost their businesses, their workers also lost their job. Not only directly, suppose altogether, let's say 1,000 people directly lost job in this particular industry. Indirectly, this amount is maybe 30,000 because all the money industries, services link each other. If someone know the input-output model, you can see link. You can see the government bring this policy to give $1 price support to consumer. But the situation here, let's say, lost 30,000 people, they are become unemployed. So my question is, does the government have a mechanism to employ them, train them, give certain period of time, kind of support them, policy, not only them, their family members. And also for that, definitely government need money more than this 500 million. If government had kind of policy. The point is, let's say government, because this government has those all the thing with them. Let's say government need around 600 million budget for that. Where this money come from? Where this money come from? Again, simply these producers and consumers. But they are the one who pay tax, you and me. If you are a producer, you pay tax. If I am the producer, you pay tax. If you are the consumer, you pay tax. Now, look at this policy. Ultimately, consumers get only benefit this the area, about 100 million. Producers lost definitely. This tax, if you look at the tax structure, mainly not the consumers, producers are the one pay. Major, bigger proportion. In this case, the producers double burden. One is they lost their surplus. The other one, the government has to increase direct or indirect tax to get this 600 million. Ultimately, you can see the society completely destroyed by kind of policies. Though giving a toffee to consumers, if you holistic way, macroeconomic way, if you analyze, entire society, entire economy is the loser. All, everybody loses. Now imagine this 600 million budget government need to support those people. If a government collect tax, government at least has to collect tax for administrative and other reasons, 800 million. Because this giving support and the tax collection, also corruption also involved. But without these are without corruption, if the corruption also in Sri Lankan contents are usually say over 30%, past few years is increased more than that. If you added at least 30% here, you can imagine this may goes to about 1,000 million dollars. Taxpayers has to pay get this kind of small ice cream because of this government. And in that case, the government maybe when the election come, they get the vote because the people also happy and they get. But the entire country suffer the long term. So you can see how these policies affect. So you might have a question right now, maybe you think yourself also thinking, so then why all over the world this kind of policies is happening? So I'm telling you, this is happening. Of course, that is the cost. We have to think as a policymakers how to address those issues. Of course, the developed countries. I saw you, if you read the a big bill passed USA government, you can see how they address, how they reduce the tax in particular people. And this kind of policies also we need to balance the economy, not just to get in tax, not just to support particular group. Blindly, I use the blindly mean for political purpose or some other thing. And also we have to think of more innovative, more creative kind of intervention than those kind of conventional intervention. So I try to empower you, the word that we used, or maybe I try to get from you kind of a direction, kind of thinking pattern. Maybe the exam question also, when you write the answers also, if I see kind of reflection, I give A marks, otherwise I just give B marks. With that, I'll stop here today. These are the loss, the particular case, what you see, due to underproduction in case of price ceiling. The textbook only explain this dead weight lot area. So with that, I'll stop today. Next week, we will see tax and subsidies, how it works, because that there the government also directly, this also directly involved, but some proportion go to government in case of tax. But these two cases, that's another worst case. Government does those kind of policies, but government does not get anything. Only the cost to the society, cost to the economy. But in tax case, you can see it a little different. Government at least can get something if the government is wise and productive. Government can give to the society more than that. But these kind of policies is not like that also. So before I stop, of course, I stop already. If anyone has any clarification, any questions, you can ask me right now. Otherwise, you also can leave the meeting. I also stop this one. And also later on also you can watch this one because YouTube live is already there. And you can visit there, my YouTube channel. You can quote it. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, we can spend another 3-4 minutes or even more if you have questions.
In Sri Lanka, actually, foreign tourists are considerable portion of consumers. If the government, this sort of policy changes are not so sensitive about, what happens to producer surplus or consumer surplus, however, the foreign tourists are not taxpayers. They are not taxed in many ways. But they enjoy our subsidized price levels in everywhere, like water supply, electricity, gas, and food and all. So will it lead to ultimate loss to the country?
Directly, this is my opinion, and no any studies I haven't done. That's a good area to study. Someone master student. I said the good research issue there. A little bit some more digging. And my opinion, if those kind of like price ceiling, what you try to repair, price reduction, if they enjoy, that is true. But what you say something wrong because they have to pay tax because the government tax them also. When you come to the airport and different tax thing. That's a different thing. And another thing also, though you argue such a way, foreign tourists, even the local tourists also, their prices higher than, for example, let's say you go to a hotel and you eat 4,000 meal, you have to pay to the government around 1,200. Government collect for you tax with the 4,000 because the tourists come and eat. Tourist prices and hotel prices in our prices is over the Singaporean or Maldives prices. So the tourists in that way come in, reduce in our country.
But sir, when they get, then it seems that most of the tourists get used to eat outside, like mobile bakery product and some other places. Yeah, there's a trend. Yeah, there's a sort of trend, and also it is said that from Kalutara to Thangol area, almost all the hotels and even small restaurants are like joint venture type involvement, which is not usually come under even board of investments, framework.
I think if I were the minister, I try to promote and let tourists to do that also, because in that way, what we have the main root cause in this country, foreign exchange. And even that way also, if you bring tourists more and more to the country, we get the foreign dollars and foreign exchange. So it's not the case. What happened now? What you said that those tourists are, I mean, they don't contribute to the economy so much. Those are maybe Indian and those kind of not real tourists. What they say, only numbers coming, not much foreign. But the real tourists come getting that. And is coming to and getting money, foreign dollars and dollars getting is the root cause here right now. Reducing, if they get benefit, more tourists come, it's advantage to the country. We have to encourage in that way, use that way. So because even like you said, like a different way you can collect from tourists, they need the different policies to like you like hotel tax on different way the government can do that. But if the foreigner come here, it's our cost is living cost is more than the like say Singapore, more than the USA. They don't come here definitely. So in that way, we lost entirely. So what happened in our country, the foreign investors, they got more subsidies than the local investors. That's the key problem. Of course, that is also long term is better because without foreign link, foreign sub company link, we can't engage in the export market. So that is also long term advantage. That's a different. I mean, we can discuss those things, but you said is they if they enjoy that would be better. Then more foreigners in that the low cost production come here and have a good life, and they left us expend so much foreign exchange and get it. So, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
We can argue
staying
both
with tourism, can I ask a question which may be an example of a positive market intervention? In tourism sector, about 10 years ago, the government noticed that there was a race to the bottom with city hotels in Colombo, where everyone's rates was going down, and the government introduced a minimum rate for city hotels in Colombo, which I think the hotel industry welcomed it. Could that be a positive? I know that a lot of the intervention is politically motivated, but this one may have been to protect the industry itself. Would that be a good intervention in that case?
Yeah, that's what I say. If the government can see where the blood moving, the economy move, economy need that one kind of a policies need in that way. Though it's a cost, like I explained, debt weight loss and things also long term, and since those industries linked to the industry, the other industries, the overall better off. But like you said, the intervention, I say intention is the political, and right now only try to government get tax money to the treasury, not other than that. So those kind of policies is the problem, because you can see nowadays it really thing happen like that. What you said is correct, because that's what we policymakers. But that again, what you said, the intention is wrong there, because that the political things happen. Yeah, those things are the thing.
Thank you.
Okay, see you next week.